Welcome, crafty friends. Annie Collins here for the Pajama Crafter. Today we're going to create this Valentine's Day card. We're going to be using the Meowentine Stamp Set. So I'll go over all the products. Like I said, we'll be using the Meowentine Stamp Set. This stamp set has 11 images, 6 are cats, 1 floral, heart floral, 2 solids, hearts, an open heart trio, and a tiny heart border all the way on the bottom there, and 9 sentiments. So you have such cute sentiments like let's be friends forever, let's happy Meowentine's Day, you had me at meow, and I love the arrow with the heart that says I love you or I heart you. You are possum friend, or you're a possum friend, it actually reads. And Valentine, you're the cat's meow, which we'll be using today. We'll also be using the In My Heart of Hearts stencil. You get 2 pieces with this. You get the actual stencil and the mask, which is great because you can use it alone or with the stencil, or if you don't want any of your product going past and just get that crisp heart, you use your mask. We're going to be using Marshmallow cardstock. That's where my image has been stamped on so that we can alcohol color it. So here's my little image. I'm using the little cat trying to catch the heart. And I have some Olo markers. Now you use any alcohol markers you prefer or color pencils. Either way, the Marshmallow cardstock is perfect for alcohol coloring. Now I'm using some watercolor cardstock that I've cut down to about 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, or maybe about more or less. Maybe I think actually 6 by 6. I'm going to put the whole stencil on here. I'm going to use some distress sprays in fire brick and in picked raspberry. I'm going to do the combination of both of these. So I'm going to go from that darker red to the bright pink. I'm spraying that on my stencil. I have some layering cardstock here in pink. This is about 65-pound weight. I die cut a little heart, which is where my little cat is going to live when we're done. I use a scallop die to cut this, as you can see, and this is going to get layered onto our card, leaving that little bit of white showing through. This die we're going to use to trim down our background. So I'll use this once everything's dry. And then I have a little piece of Marshmallow cardstock still left over. I'm going to stamp my sentiment on that. I'm going to put all of this out of my way real quick so that we can spray our stencil with the distress sprays. Now my stencil I sprayed with Pixi Spray, just so you know that's how it's sticking. I have Memento ink that I use to stamp my image. It's perfect for alcohol coloring. And I'll use some VersaFine ink later for my sentiment. I use my little froggy press to get even coverage for my image. All right, so I'm pressing down my stencil, making sure it gets nice and adhered. Again, I use some Pixi Spray on the back of that. That's why it's sticking. All right, I'm shaking up my fire brick here, distress spray, and I'm going to go ahead and spray it. I have it in a little plastic lid just to contain it, and I'm lifting it up so it sprays across. There we go. And if it drips down a little bit, that's fine because I want those colors to mix. So I have both of those on there. As you can see, it goes from that darker to the lighter, or to the brighter. And now I'm going to peel off the stencil, grabbing my tweezers to help me here. And I'm going to set this to the side to dry. If you're impatient, you can heat set it with your heat tool. I'll do that, a little bit of that later. My stencil's still wet. I'm going to grab a piece of white cardstock and I'm going to place it on here. This way I can use up some of that ink or that distress spray, and I can get another use for my stencil. So here I have the image again. There's still a little bit left. I'm going to press it down again. Now I can use this for a different background for another card another day. But I don't want to waste all that wonderful ink, and this is so fun. Now this one came out really distressed, which is fine. You can do what, more distressed project. I'll be washing that, so I went and did that. And now I'm back to color my little image. which is our little cat. And I'm going to use warm grays for him. Warm gray 1, 3, and 5. If you have any of those colors, you'll do this, use those if you want a warm gray kitty. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start out with the warm gray 1 and color the entire image, and then I'll blend in the other 2 colors. So then I'll move to warm gray 5, which is the darkest, and put in any of the darkest little areas. So shadowing on his tail, under his little arms, by his belly, and such. Around his head. Excuse me. I have a tickle. And then color in his nose. I want his nose to be that dark, warm gray. I added a little more definition around his little chin. And then I'll blend all this out with my warm gray 3. I'm leaving his face not blended yet because I want to fill in his little cheeks. So I'm going to grab my red markers here, which is RO1, and I'm going to just do his cheeks just a little bit, and his inside of his ears, of his ear, because only one of them. So I'm going to go in, it needs to be, and his little tongue, he has his little tongue sticking out. So I colored his tongue a little bit darker, which I used RO3 for that. So now I'm going to go ahead with blend this back out with the 1, because it got a little too dark, and I want his belly to be a little lighter. There we go. And sorry, my camera's kind of flicking in and out. It's if you move too much, it says, uh-oh, and it just kind of goes in and out. All right, so now we're going to color the heart. We're going to use the RO1, RO2, and RO3. And Orlo markers, those are the way they run, but they're just a lighter reds. So I'm going to go ahead and color this until I blend it out. I'm going to go back in with my 2, give a little bit more. And one more time with the RO3 because I lost a lot of that darker shadowy that I wanted. All right, once those are done, clear all those markers, I'm going to fussy cut these. I'm going to do my best to fussy cut these in camera. It's a little hard sometimes because I need to see up close to fussy cut, but I'm going to do my best to stay in camera. To fussy cut, I hold my scissors steady and move the paper, turning the paper. That way I get a nice smooth cut. There's our heart. And now we're going to do our little kitty. So our little kitty here, I cut away any of the excess that I don't need first. And then I just go ahead and trim away the excess cardstock that's around it. This is a quick and easy, I think, project because you spray the background and then the image is not really big, so it's quick and easy to color. The background, like I said, you can heat set it if you prefer. I like letting it sit so it minimizes the warping on it. So we're almost done cutting our little kitty. There we go. It's all done. And I'm going to put a little highlights with my gel pen. I use a number 10 white Jelly Roll pen. I'm going to put little dots on his cheeks. I'm going to highlight his little belly and a little bit on his head. And there you have it. I'll bring it up so you can see. Oops, almost dropped it. There you go. He's so cute. So I'm going to bring in my Memento marker. This is a dual-sided marker. And I use the bigger side to go around the edges. That way, any of the white that's showing will just disappear and you'll just see a black line no matter what angle you look at the little kitty. And I'll do the same thing with the heart. This is also a good way, if you're not a good fussy cutter, you can use the marker to hide any little boo-boos. It's an old trick, but it still works great. So I'm almost done here with my heart. There we go. I'll close that and set it aside. And if you're going to do this, make sure you use something like a Memento marker, which is a dye, which is not going to bleed into your alcohol image. Because alcohol, you can use like dye inks with alcohol markers. All right, done rambling about that. Now let's go ahead and stamp our sentiment. It's going to be the Valentine, You're the Cat's Meow. I'm going to stamp it onto a little piece of my Marshmallow cardstock that I had left. I wanted it because it's a nice bright white. I'm going to press it into place. And then I will use a strip die and cut it. I'm going to use some VersaFine ink. to stamp my image because it's great for detail stamping, so great for sentiments. So I'm going to go ahead and ink that up and I'll stamp it. I'm going to use my little frog press to make sure I get nice even coverage. Perfect. That's what that frog press is great for. Just allows that even pressure. All right, let me clear this all out of my way so we can grab my panel. And as you can see, it still has a few little wet spots. So I'm going to grab my heat tool real quick and I will heat set this. I just moved my camera back a little bit so you can better see because I was close. I had zoomed in for the coloring. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and heat front and then I'll flip it and heat from the back while holding it. And see how it curls? It curls more when you heat set it. If you let it allow it to dry naturally, it won't curl as much. Now that it's dry, I ran it through my die cutting machine and I cut the panel. I positioned it where I wanted it and cut it. So I did the same for my die. I cut it and cut a little strip and there we go. So I have my little images here and my embellishment tray as well as some embellishments. So now let's start building our card. I'm going to grab my Barely Art glue and I'm using the one with the fine tip right now. I usually use a wider tip for just putting ink in the background. Ink, not ink, glue. So, but right now I have the fine tip because I was doing a lot of gluing little things. All right, so I'm going to center this on here, press it in place, and I'm going to put glue all over the back of this stenciled panel, and then I'm going to put an acrylic block that I have, or acrylic tile, I should say, on top of this. So first I center it. Once I get it where I want it, I'm going to grab my tile and place it on there just to give it time to set up. While that's happening, we're going to put some foam adhesive on the back of our sentiment and our images. So I'm going to cut this foam strip and place it on the back of that. And then I'll grab my little kitty and grab some foam dots. Okay. Grab those and place that on there. I'm not going to put any on his tail. Well, I don't remember if I put any on his tail. I think I do. And there we go. I'm going to put some behind my little heart. Since I'm not mailing this card, I'm passing it to my granddaughter. I'm not going to put, I don't think I put any foam. Nope, I didn't, on the back of his tail. All right, so now I'm going to remove the foam, the backing off the foam, and place my little kitty. And then I'm going to put the little heart up here. There we go. Look how cute. That in itself is adorable. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and adhere our little heart on here. So I'm going to decide, do I want it where I want it, place some adhesive and adhere it down. Here we go, press that into place, and then remove the backing off our sentiment and place that on here. Make sure it's straight. And I will fuss with this a bit until I make sure it's nice and straight. Once we have that there, we're going to put some little gems on here. I'm going to pick some pink gems and I'll place some around our little kitty and some around our sentiment. And I'm using an embellishment wand to just place everything. Now, this isn't a Pajama Crafter embellishment wand. This is one I've had in my stash, but I will link the Pajama Crafter's embellishment wand in the description. The embellishment tray is from Pajama Crafters as well. All right, so here's our finished card. Look how cute it is. How quick and easy was this card. It took me all of 20 minutes to do. The longest was the drawing time. And as you saw, we sped it up. All right, so I used the Marshmallow cardstock for my image and for my sentiment. The In My Heart of Hearts stencil. Again, this is a 2-layer stencil. You have the mask and the stencil. And the Meowentine Stamp Set, which is adorable. And I used some distressed Oxide sprayed and picked raspberry and fire brick for the background. Our embellishment with our embellishment tray for all of this. I will have everything linked in the description box below of all the items I use. I would like to show you our card one more time up close. There we go. Thank you for being here, and I hope you found some inspiration.